Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. And in case you didn't know, I've been vegan now nearly 9 years. I've had this YouTube channel since 2013, so I thought it'd be interesting to react to this documentary, The Game Changers, about vegans and elite levels of sports. So I'm not going to cover the whole movie, obviously, it's quite long, but I'm going to just pull out a few highlights here and react along with you guys. So let's jump right in.
Just like, as a kid, it was asparagus. We never see that. I'm like, what's that?
Bryant Jennings is a heavyweight title contender, best known for going the distance with Vladimir Klitschko, one of the greatest boxing champions of all time.
I had never heard of Bryant Jennings before. I had no idea there was a vegan heavyweight title contender.
Where do you get your protein? As if everybody that's in KFC is looking at the back of a bucket, like, yeah, how much protein is... Y'all don't know. So y'all really don't know what y'all eating.
Yeah, he brings some good points up there. It's so true. As soon as you go vegan, pretty much everyone you know all of a sudden turns into a nutritionist, very concerned about your nutritional intake, particularly protein. And as he points out, yeah, if you're going to junk food places like KFC or McDonald's, no one even second guesses what they're getting there. They just assume they're getting all their nutritional requirements met. But as he points out, you don't know, you're just eating junk food.
Plasma is see-through. It means there's not much fat in the blood, and the endothelium is likely functioning well.
Oh yeah, this is cool. This is a little informal, not totally scientific experiment where they fed 3 athletes. One day they're eating a non-vegan burrito, and the second day they're eating vegan burritos. Actually, of the 3 athletes, one was vegan, so we had vegan burritos both days. But anyway, let's check out the results of the plasma here, of the fat in the blood, compared to the non-vegan day of eating, compared to the vegan day of eating.
Today's blood and yesterday's blood. This is a plant burrito. This is a meat burrito.
Notice how much more clear the top layer is in the plant burrito.
Look at the difference it makes in what circulates in your bloodstream.
Cloudy.
Cloudy. And that's on top is the fat circulating in your blood from the meat burrito.
Gotcha.
This is all to measure athletic performance, showing that if you're eating vegan food as opposed to a bunch of meat food, you'll probably do pretty well athletically.
In animal products, you're getting protein packaged with inflammatory molecules like new 5-GC, endotoxins, and heme iron.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people, like, well, eating meat can be healthy too, especially if it's like, grass-fed or organic. Well, still, even if it's your animals were fed in those methods, it still doesn't change the compositional structure of what's in meat.
When we consume animal products, it also changes the microbiome, the bacteria that live in our gut. And the bacterial species that have been shown to promote inflammation overgrow and begin to produce inflammatory mediators like TMAO.
Yeah, this is something I suggest everyone, vegan or not, take a look into. There's been a lot of breakthrough information in this relatively new field of studying microbiome. And just to sum it up in a nutshell, if you eat a plant-based diet, a vegan diet, you're producing healthy gut microbiome. And likewise, as you've said here, if you're eating a bunch of animal products, you have an unhealthy microbiome and produces inflammation. So let's continue on here.
How could meat be so bad for us if that's what our ancestors were supposedly built to eat?
When we think about the diet of early humans, we're often drawn to thinking about meat, but plant foods were more important than the archaeological record gives credit for. The food that could be relied on wherever you were was the plant food.
That's Dr. Richard Wrangham, and I wanted to show him here because I've featured him on our videos many times. You got to read his books. He's a Harvard anthropologist, specifically a primatologist, so he knows the diets and lifestyles of our ancestors going back hundreds of thousands, millions of years. And in his book, Catching Fire, which I recommend you go read. I got it from the library. I've checked it out several times. I should buy it because it's that good. Anyway, he describes how it was eating a carbohydrate-rich cooked diet, meaning starchy tubers, that led humans out of the trees and onto the ground, digging up all the starchy tubers. An infinite supply of food, basically, because no other animal knew how to cook. It was, there's no competition, and that's what led to our rapid increase in brain size and made us human. It wasn't eating meat like lots of paleo and carnivore people like to fantasize. There's solid science backing this up.
Steak is for man.
Go meat!
They showed us commercials, burgers, George Foreman with the grill. Yeah. And then big sandwiches and all that stuff.
Eat like a man and be full like a man.
This is great, great marketing by the meat industry.
Serious man. From the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
They're gonna hire their so-called
I'm
experts
first of all a registered dietitian and nutrition scientist, and I'm a mom.
to create just enough confusion.
Are you saying with processed meat that it is not, in your view, carcinogenic?
I don't say that it supports a sufficient relationship.
And they make it seem as though there's doubt about what we're talking about.
This is not a link, a causal link between red and processed meat and any type of cancer.
Well, I'm really surprised and glad that the movie got into this whole misinformation war that's being waged by the meat, dairy, and egg industries. I cover this all the time on our channel, and it just shows why so many people are not willing to commit to plant-based diets because they've heard contradictory, conflicting information about meat and how bad or good it is for you. Here, they're just trying to put doubt in your mind. This paid shill by the meat and beef industry, the cattleman beef industry here, is trying to debunk the World Health Organization's report from several years ago. They analyzed hundreds of studies and came to the conclusion that processed meat is a group 1 carcinogen and red meat a group 2A. That's a probable carcinogen, but the processed meat is the highest level, group 1. And here she's saying, no, I don't believe that. Well, she's going to have to debunk hundreds of studies in the World Health Organization. And the movie goes on to show how this happens. It's that the meat, dairy, and egg industries fund studies that give them conclusions that they want.
But would you recommend reducing meat intake?
No, not at all.
How on earth is the viewer supposed to make sense of all of this?
With overwhelming scientific evidence connecting animal foods to many of the most common deadly diseases, I discovered that the meat, dairy, and egg industries have engaged in a covert response, funding studies that deny this evidence while burying their involvement in the fine print. One of the hired guns paid to conduct these studies is Exponent Incorporated, a company whose research was used by the tobacco industry to deny the connection between secondhand smoke and cancer. For more than 50 years, Exponent has generated studies that challenge the health risks of everything from asbestos, arsenic, and mercury to animal foods.
Not surprising at all. If you want to show that your dangerous, carcinogenic product is not bad for people, at least put some doubt in these people's minds, you hire Exponent, huh?
I've never eaten a piece of meat in my entire life. And I've never had an issue with testosterone. I've gotten blood tests and all my levels are right where they need to be. And clearly I don't have any trouble building muscle.
I want to show that clip, Derek, because that's Nimai Delgado. I've known him for a few years. He used to live just not too far from us here in Long Beach. And I also want to bring up, too, that my testosterone levels have been just fine. In fact, I got my testosterone tested last year, at the end of the year, in December. And it was at the level of that of a person in his late 20s, at their prime testosterone producing years. And mind you, I was 51 when I got that test done.
Studies comparing men who eat animal foods with men who don't have consistently demonstrated no difference in testosterone levels.
And in fact, as I showed in that video I just referred to of mine about my testosterone blood test results, that there's actually studies that show that men who don't eat meat, those on vegan and vegetarian diets, are known to have higher levels of testosterone. So just saying. So next, let's check out a nice, happy, friendly little vegan party. Just imagine your mind like 14, 15 vegans all getting together, having some vegan food. What do you visualize? Let's check this one out.
I felt more energized, feel stronger. It was pretty dope.
And what about the taste?
The taste is great. Really good.
And the meals were always looking good, and I found myself sitting in a locker staring at what they eating. So, I tried it, and honestly, I felt the difference, and, I was able to just perform consistently.
Yeah, you caught your first touchdown after you switched over, right?
So in case you didn't know, those were not any ordinary plant-based eaters. These were members of the NFL team, the Tennessee Titans. And I know a lot of anti-vegans and carnivores, when they react to this movie, they like to point out, well, when athletes go vegan, they're not the best in the world. They're like not number one. In fact, their performance goes down. Well, let's see how the Tennessee Titans fared after this season of eating plant-based.
This was our best season in the last 15 years.
Sack, that was Orakpo and Derek Morgan.
And we had about 14 guys on plant-based diets.
Jarrell Casey, Brian Orakpo.
Bright spot in this game was this Titans defense.
So, as you can see, going plant-based didn't affect their performance negatively. It affected their performance positively.
Double-digit sacks for Derek Morgan. He had his best season of his career.
Titans on their way to the playoffs.
Yeah, not too shabby, huh? Anyway, let's continue on.
This will be the heaviest weight that anyone has ever carried on their shoulders. Patrick will be attempting 555 kilos, which is 1,224 pounds. This is an official Guinness World Record.
Again, another official record here. A Guinness record, the biggest amount of weight a human is carried on his shoulders and walked at, I think, 35 feet. Again, when the anti-vegans like to say, oh, he's not that strong. He was stronger when he was younger and not vegan. Nonsense. This is the most weight anyone's carried in this particular manner ever. If anyone wants to try to beat that, they're fair game to give it a shot. And, you know, it's not just power men like Patrik Baboumian here. Endurance athletes like Scott Jurek are doing some amazing things as well.
Scott Jurek is one of the world's most accomplished ultra-marathoners. His latest quest, the Appalachian Trail. It takes most hikers 5 to 7 months. Jurek did it in 46 days, 8 hours, and 7 minutes. 3 hours faster than the previous record.
I mean, and considering I didn't even show the part in the movie where early on in this journey to run the Appalachian Trail, he tweaked, I think it was his hamstring early on. So he was doing most of this run while injured. Anyway, let's get back to Patrik Baboumian and see if he was able to lift this Guinness record load here. So overall, I think they did a fantastic job with this movie. They were truthful about the science, showing all the healthful benefits of eating a plant-based diet, and the converse of that. They showed real-world athletes who are kicking butts in their respective fields, some even setting world records, showed athletes of all kinds, male, female, big ripped ones, small endurance athletes. So I think this movie hopefully will be a game changer, particularly for athletes who were afraid that they would lose muscle mass, or male athletes afraid about the manliness of vegan diets. This should dispel it all once and for all, we hope. So anyway, leave your questions, comments down below. What'd you think about this movie? How'd you react? And by the way, it's coming out on Netflix on October 16th. So if you haven't seen it yet, mark your calendars for that. So share, hit like, and until next time, guys, remember, vote vegan. Yes, I'm running for City Council in Long Beach, District 2, on the Humane Party platform. If you live in Long Beach, you can vote for me next year in March. And if you live anywhere in the United States, you can contribute to my campaign. Please, everyone, go check out my website, ryanlum.net.
You've got me spinning circles, spinning round and round, spinning till I'm dizzy, falling to the ground. You've got me spinning circles round.